Week 9 is in the books. That means it's time to hit those waiver wires to find players that could add value to the back end of your rosters. And quick note, I will be referencing rostership percentages in this video, and those are coming from roster data from 1,700 Dynasty Leagues on myfantasyleague.com. Basically a 50-50 split of one quarterback in Superflex, all with a minimum of 20-man rosters. So I'm not pulling these players out of nowhere, but it is possible that some or even all of these guys are already rostered in your leagues, perhaps even by you. But for the most part, there are hundreds of leagues out there right now where these guys are available on waivers. First off, I want to highlight a couple players that are highly rostered, but are not exactly 100% rostered that I think should be. And that includes Taylor Heineke and Sam Darnold in Superflex leagues, Kyron Williams, Isaiah Spiller, Jaylen Warren, Deon Jackson, and Cade Otton. Again, all guys rostered in over 90% of Dynasty leagues, but not exactly 100%. So double check your waivers and immediately add these guys if they are available. All right, let's get started because I have 7 players that you need to add from your Dynasty waiver wire this week. So first up, I just want to do some more reiterations on 3 players: JaMycal Hasty, Rex Burkhead, and DJ Dallas. Now, none of these guys actually did anything this week, and they probably never will as long as their starters stay healthy. But what if their starters are not healthy? Travis Etienne, Dameon Pierce, and Kenneth Walker are all seeing massive volume lately, including 25+ rush attempts alone in week 9 each. I get that Hasty, Burkhead, and Dallas are not sexy names at all. They're not even really that good at the running back position, but in today's world, they all deserve to be rostered in case their starters were to get hurt. And I honestly hope that I see all 3 of them above an 85% rostership next week. Otherwise, I'm going to be really annoying again and just repeat this same thing. Next up, we have Chargers wide receiver DeAndre Carter. And I actually highlighted Carter a couple weeks ago, and my prophecy then came to fruition this past week. So it is possible that we get some games after this point where Josh Palmer and DeAndre Carter are the wide receiver 1 and 2 in this offense for just some random game. While fantasy-wise, Carter's week 9 only turned into 10.3 PPR points, that was still helpful to a lot of people out there this past week with the number of teams that we had on bye and or even the number of injured players on people's rosters. And it's possible yet again that DeAndre Carter is in the same role again this week in week 10 if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are both out again. So he's worth a roster spot on many Dynasty rosters who might be in need of that spot start flex type of player or even at the wide receiver position. If both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were to come back though this week, he's an easy player to dump back onto waivers for somebody more serviceable as we near the fantasy playoffs. Now, in a similar situation to DeAndre Carter, Demarcus Robinson is now the Ravens wide receiver 1, 1A, 1B, 2, whatever you want to call him in their offense. He is now that with Devin Duvernay now that Rashad Bateman is done for the year. We actually saw him in this role last week with a team high 8 targets against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, turning in a solid 12.4 PPR performance. If that is the type of role and usage that he's going to have throughout the remainder of the season, Robinson could be a valuable depth piece for teams looking to make a playoff run, or if you're rebuilding, you can still pick him up and use him as a trade piece and be able to sell him maybe for a 3rd, or I'd even take a 4th, just a free late round rookie pick off the waiver wires to that contending team who might need that kind of depth in Demarcus Robinson. And then finally, we have the just amazing wide receiver duo of Chris Moore and Phillip Dorsett from the Houston Texans, who both had increased roles this past week with Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins on the sidelines. I'm basically taking the same approach with Chris Moore and Dorsett as I have been basically Josh Palmer and DeAndre Carter, or even the Ravens receiving core that I just mentioned. They're useful only when one of, or perhaps more ideally, both starters ahead of them are hurt. If both Cooks and Collins are playing, then both Moore and Dorsett are droppable. But if they both continue to be on the sideline, now they have value. I don't really have a preference between the two. They both had the same number of targets this week. Dorsett was the deep ball guy. Chris Moore caught the touchdown. And it's honestly more luck in terms of which one hits any given week, or perhaps neither one of them hit. But if you have the roster spots, take a shot on whichever one of these guys is your favorite, or maybe add both and just see what happens. And then, like I said, both guys are so easily droppable when Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks are back in playing. And if you want to see some more moves to make after this past week 9 of football, then I highly recommend checking out this video from Justin right up here.